Understanding the meets and bounds method of legal description is essential for the national portion of the real estate exam. This is the oldest method of land description used in the United States and relies on physical features of the local geography along with directions and distances to define the boundaries of a parcel. When you see a question about meets and bounds on the exam, the first thing you need to look for is the point of beginning, or the POB. Every valid meets and bounds description must start at a definitely identifiable point and must also end at that same point. If the description fails to return to the point of beginning, it is considered an open or incomplete description and is not legally valid for a deed. The term meets refers to distance and measures, while bounds refers to direction or boundaries. On the exam, you might see descriptions that use feet, inches, or rods for the meets portion. The bounds portion uses compass directions typically expressed in degrees, minutes, and seconds. A common trick on the exam involves the direction of the survey. A proper meets and bounds description always proceeds in a clockwise direction around the perimeter of the property. If an exam question asks you about the sequence of a legal description and provides a counterclockwise option, remember that clockwise is the standard for these surveys. Another critical concept to master is the use of monuments. Monuments are fixed objects used to establish real estate boundaries, such as iron pins, concrete posts, or even natural features like large trees or streams. One of the most frequently tested points is what happens when the measurements in the description do not perfectly match the physical monuments on the ground. In a legal dispute, the physical monuments will almost always take precedence over the written distances and directions. This is because the physical marker on the earth is considered more reliable than a potentially erroneous measurement written in a document. You should also be aware of the difference between the point of beginning and a point of commencement. Sometimes a description starts at a well-known corner or marker that is not actually on the property itself. This is the point of commencement, and the surveyor will provide directions from that point to reach the actual point of beginning where the property boundary description starts. A helpful mnemonic to remember the core elements is to think of the phrase meets, measure, and bounds boundary at the POB. This reminds you that meets are the numbers and distances, while bounds are the directions and landmarks that define the edge of the land starting at the point of beginning. You must be able to distinguish meets and bounds from the rectangular survey system, which uses townships and ranges, or the lot and block system, which uses recorded plats. Meets and bounds are unique because they trace the actual perimeter of the land as if you were walking around it with a compass and a tape measure. Watch out for exam questions that try to confuse you by mixing terms from different systems, such as using sections and ranges within a meets and bounds question. If the description mentions moving a certain number of degrees north, 45 degrees east, for 200 feet to a stone monument, you are definitely looking at a meets and bounds description. Ensuring the description closes is the most important legal requirement. If you encounter a scenario where the survey ends at a point different from where it started, the property description is flawed and could lead to title issues. Focus on the POB, the clockwise direction, and the priority of monuments to secure these points on your licensing exam.